Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode 25. My name's Mike Williams. I'm joined by Liam Mckelvey.
Hello.
And Jake Kulkowski.
Hello.
There's loads of news this week, and there, guys, some big No Man's Sky news, which we're going to talk about first off. We're also going to talk about Hellblade, which me and Liam have actually both beaten, and Jake's kind of dipped into it a little bit. Big fans of it, so big fans of it in the office in general. And we're going to be talking about the whole Shadow of War microtransactions mess. I'm going to say mess.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to say scandal. Debacle maybe, but mess, because there's more going on here than just a straight scandal. So we'll talk about that. We've also got Fact of the Week, of course. That's what we're all here for, obviously. And we've got comments later on as well, so that's always good comments. So we've got loads of them this week and some decent ones as well. So let's jump into No Man's Sky then. So No Man's Sky had the Atlas Rises update last week. Was it last Wednesday? The 9th of August, and it's it added a ton of stuff to the game. Basically, kind of what they've been working up to all year. They've drip fed updates so far. They've given us Foundation Update 1.1, which added a bunch of cool stuff to get us started. There was the Pathfinder Update, which added stuff like vehicles and stuff like that, and just kind of developed on that content side a little bit. And then with this update, they've really gone to like a year later after the game came out. This probably would have been a much better received product if this is what we had, this 1.3 version, if this is what we had, kind of this time last year. So the Atlas Rises update, what did they actually add? They added a 30-hour story. They added multiplayer, which was one of the big promised features. That was like the main one. Like, you said there's going to be multiplayer.
Multiplayer light, disclaimer there.
It is multiplayer light. Yeah, it's multiplayer through the, as Peter Molyneux would say, it's multiplayer. Fable 2
school of multiplayer.
It's exactly what it is.
It's like a testing ground from proper
multiplayer. It's there at least. They didn't straight call it multiplayer either. They called it like adventuring with other people or something like
Advanced
that.
Community building.
Joint exploration. That's what it was. Joint exploration.
Clever.
So not like exploring joints, but you know what I mean. Improved flight and space combat. You can actually crash your ship now into the surface of planets, which, believe it or not, is a feature that people wanted from No Man's Sky. I want to be able to crash please.
Land,
which it does add a lot, and it feels just faster. It feels tighter. The space combat is much more developed than it was before. There's more going on. There's the improvements to the HUD and stuff that just make it a lot better. General graphical improvements all around. It looks a lot sharper. It looks nicer. They've nailed it, actually. I don't know what else they could really do to make it look nicer, because it just looks great. It's a gorgeous looking game in a lot of ways now.
That's right, yeah.
There's more detail to everything, and that's not like graphically. I mean, there's just text. There's a lot of text. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of lore. There's like everything feels like it's got more reason to be there now, whereas in the base version, everything kind of felt like different skins of the same thing. They
fleshed it out a bit more. By the sounds of it,
very much so. You can do terrain manipulation, so you can completely transform areas with a weapon. It's really easy to use, and it's fun. You can dig your way out of tunnels really easily and stuff like that. It's awesome. Generally, it's a great update. It's fantastic, and this is exactly what you'd kind of want and expect from them. It's been very successful for them as well. They've had an influx of positive reviews on Steam. 19,000 concurrent players, which is the most concurrent players they've had since launch. Comfortably.
Yes.
I mean, combine that with the Foundation update and the Pathfinder update. I mean, I guess I should ask you specifically, Jake, because you've played a lot of the game and Liam hasn't. Is No Man's Sky worth going back to now?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I guess we need to do this as a channel on YouTube, and just for the comment section, really. We aren't condoning what happened with the launch of No Man's Sky, and there's a lot to be said on that. And if you want to learn more about what we think about No Man's Sky and how we felt about the whole thing, there's plenty of videos for you to check out. So please don't jump on the thing straight away saying that we're worshipping Sean Murray and things like that.
That's actually an interesting point, because that's part of the lore of the channel. It was like it was a gameplay Let's Play channel for when I started working here anyway. And then after when No Man's Sky came out, me and Gaz were really excited about it. We started talking about it a lot in the office, and then we started making videos out of it, just talking about it. And we owe a lot as a channel to No Man's Sky, because we had a lot of opinions about it, and we went on this journey of excitement, kind of enjoying the first 5 hours, and then kind of falling off with it. And we've charted that very thoroughly with some of our earliest ever videos, so check them out if you want to learn.
I mean, normally I wouldn't respond to just random comments and stuff like that, but I noticed that when we did a podcast last time, there was people who were just genuinely, they weren't hating, they were just genuinely wondering why we were defending this game. So now that that's out the way, and like I say, if you care that much, go and find out what we think about it, okay? Let's talk about the future now, because everybody knows about what happened with No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Who doesn't, okay? And at this point, a lot of people own the game, right? I actually was gifted the game by my brother-in-law, and I enjoyed the game. And I encountered a couple of problems about 40 hours, 50 hours into the game, and that was kind of issues with the fact that the game isn't very linear, the fact that there seems to be no purpose, and that's I guess
that's the big one. That's the real big problem.
Exactly, and I suppose maybe that was part of the immersion. Look how small you are in this huge universe. But ultimately, everyone needs to feel important, and that's the thing. You want to explore, but you want your exploration to sort of mean something.
Yeah, and also I think the issue would have been variety. Like, what's the point going to the next system, because it's just basically going to be the same as the one I'm in right now. There's going to be different planets, but there'll be different colors. But who cares? Like, there wasn't enough thread. There wasn't enough reason to pull you into the next planet, and that is, you're right.
Yeah.
That I don't think they wanted a thread. They wanted you to just go and do whatever you want.
This was actually what you say there. There wasn't enough thread to pull you to the next planet, but there also wasn't enough reason for you to stay on the planet you were on.
Exactly.
So you kind of felt in an awkward
switch
thing.
the game off, which is what the people did.
So now I'm playing the game, and it's like a completely different game than it was last time I played it, which was September 2016. I played it for more than 3 or 4 hours, right? And now there's home planets that you can build a base on, and you can teleport from your base to various stations and things like that. So you can explore the planets and the galaxies as far as you want to go. And then whenever you want to go back to your base, your home planet, you can simply go to a space station. You can jump back in. What's the point of doing that? Well, in your base, you can build storage containers, you can build farms, you can build mining facilities and things like that to sell to further your exploration or whatever. So it gives you a purpose. So this is the big thing. The big criticism for the game that I saw was there was a lack of purpose. I have found purpose now. Yeah. I found a reason to want to go out, and I found a reason to want to stay on the planet.
People are talking mostly about the multiplayer for this thing, but for me, it's the 30-hour campaign. The fact that there's a reason to, like you said, and just to go from one place to the next. And I love the way it's not like a full cinematics. It's not like some flipping Baldur's Gate, Knights of the Old Republic depth like role playing game experience or something. It's just a nice bit of text adventure, I suppose, at the very best. It's just like reading stuff, and there's some holograms and things like that, some new characters and stuff. But what it does is it says, go here, do this. Yeah. You know what? You should go over there, do that. And there was nothing like that in the base game.
What I'd recommend for anyone that has still got their copy of the game and things like that, any open-minded people that want to delve back in, I would recommend starting the game again, okay? Because
absolutely.
This story, it acts, if anything, is like a real introduction to the game. If you follow this main storyline, and I'll only stick to the first couple of bits because I don't want to give a lot away, but you'll find yourself learning about these new features. It's a good way of introducing the terrain tool. You learn about that. You learn about that you can get new ships and things like that. So it's a very, because the world is so not the world, the whole flipping thing is so procedurally generated. Everything's randomized. Finding an item that you might want might be 10 hours in for you. Yeah. So this is a good way of kind of funneling the experience and all of the various changes and all the new features into a very, very manageable and enjoyable way.
That's the word. And it's fun. It gives you a reason. They said 30-hour campaign. What that means to me is I have a reason to play this game for 30 hours now. I could have played the old one for 30 hours, but I would have been doing the same thing on loop. I mean, Liam, you are a big sci-fi fan. I mean, I'm sure the idea of space exploration is really exciting to you. You never even bought into the concept of No Man's Sky, did you?
Even from that big initial reveal trailer they did at the Game Awards, whatever it was. Yeah. It never just grabbed my interest. Yeah. I remember going on Reddit after that announcement trailer, and people were going nuts for this game.
I remember that.
It was loads of hype, just seemingly out of nowhere. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess that was just it to me. I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I think you're probably smarter than the rest of us. Then you're just like,
I wasn't
this
getting
is
any,
too good to be true.
When everyone was there going, oh, we can fly against freighters and giant space worms. But the trailer didn't really show any of that.
You're a big kind of story man, aren't you?
I am. I value story in games quite a lot.
Like a lot of what you say about games is kind of related to character and things like that, which is awesome. I mean, but there's nothing like that in No Man's Sky, is there? There's nothing. There's no strong characters. There aren't characters. There's other things, other aliens and whatever, but they're not characters really. They're just randomly generated, like alien characters with like a different title and different randomly generated bits of dialogue or whatever. So there's no strong kind of story presence to it. Everything they've added since in the last year, does that change your mind at all? Would that make you want to go back there as a new player, as a new No Man's Sky player?
It definitely piqued my interest. 30 hours of story sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's good or not, but like you said, it's just it's like characters who just randomly generated. You're not really getting attached.
Well, this is the thing. The story seems it kind of does seem a bit tacked on because everything else is so procedural. This is written. The whole thing's written, right? Everyone's story's the same. Me and Mike were talking about it. We've met the same NPC.
The locations and situations might vary a bit, but that's it.
So it's a bit more scripted.
This is it. Well, this is it. What I love, right? It's a 30-hour story, but it gives you the opportunity to then build your own experiences off that. So for example, like one of the early missions, this is one of the very, very early story missions, you have to triangulate your position. So you have to put down various what are they, like transmission towers.
Yeah.
Mike's galaxy or system where he was would have been dead different than mine. In fact, the system I was on only had one planet. I think you're supposed to do it on multiple planets, but I only had one planet. So that was already a different experience. So it's weird how it uses the procedural generation to make this story different. So, for example, Mike would have probably had an easier time than me doing this, or whatever. So
I had 4 planets, and I had to hop from one planet to the next for each transmitter,
right?
And that kind of makes more sense in the story for me. Like, you probably need, this is a big kind of area. You'd need transmitters on different planets. So the fact that you have to do it all on one planet is a bit of like the procedural generation shooting the story in the foot a little bit. Like,
it sounds like it's a bit at odds with each other.
Yeah, very slightly though. It's not like it's nothing major.
But then when it works, it works very well. Like it pushes you to find certain things in the universe. But then you go on a little bit of it encourages you to kind of go off on a tangent. It pushes you out your comfort zone a bit. Go to this galaxy. So you go to this galaxy, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, here's a forest planet. I'll go and check it out. And so all of a sudden your 30-hour story, 2 hours into it, you've gone on a 5-hour tangent, but you're still enjoying it. And then as soon as this is where No Man's Sky's really reeled this in now, right? Because as soon as that starts getting boring, you can go right back on the rails again and carry on with this linear story. So it's like, that's what I've been doing. So this 30-hour story, I've played the game for 30 hours since Friday, or probably about 27 hours, right? And I must be about 4 hours into the story mode, because I've just been going, oh, wow, I've got this from the story, and I've gone and pissed around for ages. So
that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? That is really what the game is designed. It is a sandbox, really, at the end, at the core of it.
The story is kind of a guiding experience for you.
But that's completely what it lacked, though. That's absolutely what it needed from the get-go. But it's not all about the story. I mean, like, they've added a lot of stuff on in the other updates as well, of course, like the freighters, the base building, which you were talking about just then, the rovers, the little vehicles that you can ride around on. It's cool. They're adding stuff to it. But do you think that maybe takes away from the core idea of being, you've got a ship, you're lost in space, you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're looking for. There's a very mysterious thing drawing you to the center of the galaxy. This was the basic thing at the beginning of the game when it first came out, right? And you had this, it was a very lonely kind of experience. It's a great idea. It's a weird idea, being lost in space. Now it feels a lot busier. It's like you can establish this, you can set up a business, you can have like an economy going. You've got like a freighter, you've got a base, you've got rovers, you're like an entrepreneur, you're like fucking, you know what I mean, you're just raking in all this cash and stuff, and it's a different experience. It's not like as lonely, terrifying, oh my god, where am I going, who am I, what am I doing, space exploration game. It's like what is it now? It's like Minecraft.
It's become a bit more. Liam said something profound that really has stuck with me all day, actually. said that people wanted Star Citizen, they didn't want No Man's Sky, right? That's what you said. And that's been going through my head loads, thinking, yeah, that is what people wanted. People just wanted to have a sandbox universe to do whatever the fuck they want. The game was always given as an exploration game.
Yeah.
And I guess they had that.
So this is what I'm saying. Have they compromised on that vision now? By adding all this Star Citizen-y type stuff and having all these, like, there's warring factions and economies and stuff?
I don't think so. I don't think one of them gets in the way of the others. Like, you could do the whole game without even fucking touching a freighter, without even having a dogfight.
Yeah.
You don't even have to make a base other than, you know, the bare minimal. You don't have to expand on this. It's there if you want it to.
Yeah.
I guess the same with stuff like Minecraft. You could do the whole thing without having to fight a creeper or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess that more they add, the more content they add that people can just pick, it becomes like, you know, a bit more of a help yourself sort of style.
Yeah.
And that's what people want. People want to go into space, live their fantasy. If they want to be a fighter pilot, if they want to be a trader, they can.
Which is what they were really selling hard.
But this is exactly, and this is something we know.
Sounds a bit like Elite. Like, that's the whole.
That's what they were. That's the problem that they did, because the game you got was a lonely sci-fi exploration game. The game they sold you was Elite, Star Citizen. Be what you want, do whatever you want.
Package.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is obviously where it started going off the rails, and this is what everybody, you know, has noticed. That's when they started saying yes to every question. Can you land on freighters? Yeah. Can you amass an army of spaceships?
They didn't say yeah. They went yes.
Exactly. It was like
the answer's no. Then I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, exactly. And this is obviously where it went off the rails. Now they are delivering on the game. It's so funny because it was such an early access game a year ago.
Yes.
But now the price.
I keep coming back to that. I keep thinking all these problems could have been solved if they just released it in early access.
Yeah, that's the solution.
One of the biggest pros for early access is the No Man's Sky situation. They wouldn't have got half the hate.
I mean, the price now is $9.99 on PlayStation. It's on sale. You know, it's a discount, the summer sale thing. It's about a week left on it, I think. But it's $9.99 for £10. That it's a good deal. If you like sci-fi, if you want to explore, you know, there's a thing about No Man's Sky. There's a core idea of No Man's Sky, which if you love it, you will be patient with it and keep playing it. If you like fixing up your spaceship, jumping in it, taking off, flying to another planet, and, you know, exploring that other planet. If you like that 5 minutes, you'll be patient with it. You'll enjoy the rest of it. It's as simple as that. But if you're not that bothered about it, if you're just like, well, what is this? If this is just colours, this is procedurally generated shite. If you don't buy the illusion, there's no chance. Story or not, multiplayer or not, freighters or not, you're not going to enjoy it now. You know what I mean?
I think the big thing is that the game that was getting all the hate isn't the game that it is now. It's a completely different game. I mean, you know, you'd land on a planet a year ago and the whole thing would be a desert. My home base now, I've got a grasslands, I've got a desert, I've got a snowy area, I've got an ocean. It's a fully realised planet, man. I've got my little rover to travel around in it. I can do all sorts of shite on there that I couldn't have done a year ago. The reputation of this game is so bad. But what the big thing is, and this is genuinely true, I reckon, if this game did well on release, they would have had no problem selling these updates for DLC prices, and people would have bought them and people wouldn't have complained. So the amount of content in these updates, people would charge, what, 15 quid for a DLC?
Yeah.
15 quid for this.
Destiny, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very pricey, very light expansions for Destiny. You get more stuff in a No Man's Sky update than a Destiny update, that's for sure.
If they charged for this, for the amount of stuff that they added into the game, right, you wouldn't be able to really argue with it if they had promised No Man's Sky that came out, if that was what was promised. But now they're just spending, basically the way a lot of people see it is they've took a year and they're almost given us the game that they've promised. So there's that expectation, there's that, you know, privilege, quite right, obviously, because they were told us it was going to be this, and they are slowly getting there now. But, you know, all I can say is everyone wants to like the game. That's the problem. That's why it pisses everyone off.
I know. You can tell by how many concurrent players that it has, or it had when the update came out, that there was so many people like me. I never hated the game. I was bitterly disappointed in it, but I never hated it. Right, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the few hours I had, and you know, it was kind of a slow realization, as I'm sure it was with a lot of people, that it isn't what you were told that it would be. It's something completely different. It's something a lot lighter than that. What I want to know is just touching on what you just said. Then with the DLC, they would have charged for this stuff if the game was received well. If the game was received well, do you think they would have even bothered? I don't know if they would have. I don't know if they would have even thought, let's tack on a load of stuff on it. I think they've only done this purely because of all the backlash, because their reputation as developers was rocked so much by this, and like they had a lot of negative. They've reacted to it exactly right. I think like they had a lot of negative press for saying too much. They ended up underselling these updates completely.
They didn't even talk about multiplayer. They didn't even announce that they were doing it, and then all of a sudden it was multiplayer. I was so sure that they weren't going to do it, and I guess they're finding the way there now. Yeah. You're right, and maybe no matter what happens, we win, because
totally.
We're getting a better game for it, right? And
we've already paid for it.
Yeah, and the people who are like leaving really angry, hateful comments on YouTube are winning because their words are being heard and people are changing the game for them. Well,
they are never winning anything.
They're never winning anything. Yeah, no, exactly.
They've already lost.
But still, in terms of feedback and stuff like that, yeah, exactly.
This is how you respond.
Wherever they're doing it out of love for the game, or whether they're doing it because they need to, because they have committed career suicide if they don't save the game, all I can say is I hope it's one of those things, and it's no surprise which one I hope. But either way, we are getting the game, and that's what I'm focused on, because you know what, after all this extra shit, I don't really give a fuck about Sean Murray. He's nothing to me. I don't give a fuck about Hello Games. All I care about is a game that I own, that I paid for, is getting better for free. Oh, that's good. Yeah. You know, and that's the way a lot of people should feel about this now, okay? This thing happened one time with Sean Murray. What he does next, he's already lost so much reputation, right? Try and forget about that.
When was the last time he was seen in public doing an interview or anything?
Did they even attend their conference win?
No. So it's something that it's elements of all kinds of things, isn't it? It's they're rebuilding their own brand, their own reputation. They're doing this game justice. Like they love this project and they want to see it through to the end. They've, from the sounds of it, they're going to keep doing this for the foreseeable future until they are no longer Hello Games, the company that made a shit space Minecraft in space game. They're gonna keep doing it until their reputations are recovered and they think they've added as much as they can to it. That's my kind of last question on it though. Where do they go from here? Like, what else do they add? Because for me, this is what I wanted. I wanted a thread. I didn't even, I've freighters and base building and all that shit. I'm not really asked about that. What I really wanted was a thread and a reason to keep playing the game. I've got that now. What else do they do?
I suppose full on co-op multiplayer next.
Proper multiplayer.
It's got to be multiplayer.
They're working towards it, those little glowing orbs.
Exactly. They promised multiplayer. They just need to fulfill the promises, okay? So on the trailers we saw dinosaurs and stuff like that, chuck stuff like that, and there was a giant worm that was like miles long, and that was one of the most standout moments for me when I watched the trailer, and I remember being excited for huge creatures like that, stuff like that.
I think you're totally right. As far as things that you can do, it's fine, it's good now. This is as good as you can. You don't have to keep working on that now. I think they're revamping the procedural generation to make the planets make the planets better. I mean, I know this is something that they keep saying that they've done. They've keep added biomes and stuff like that. They always say that in all the updates, and it's true. But they just need to just keep doing it. Give us creatures that aren't like drawn by children kind of animals. Make us like believable, but still crazy and outlandish kind of creatures that aren't cartoonish. Gas giant planets, you know what I mean? Just get planets out of gas.
Maybe eventually for the multiplayer working stuff like galactic events, like so people are spending their warp cells get into the middle of this particular system because there's a big fight and they can resolve it.
Natural disasters and stuff, like planets breaking apart, like
solar flares, stuff like that.
Exactly, actual space phenomenon that are studied by physicists and stuff like that. What I would really like as part of the narrative thing that they've got going on with the pulling you through on a story, and this is something I was talking to you a lot about yesterday, Jake, was like just kind of random text adventure type stuff. Like you touch down on a planet and it's the same every single time, except the conditions on the planet might be different, but it's always the same, right? It'd be cool if you touch down on a planet and then there's like a warning light on your ship and it's like, what's that? Well, you've just lost all your fuel. Your engines have like crapped out on you. You need to fix them. Because my favourite part of No Man's Sky is build that very beginning where you have to build up your ship and get back out into space. Because knowing that you can't do it really makes you want to sort it out and do it, and that's a really good motivator, and that's a cool scenario, being stuck on a planet like, how do I get off this planet? I need to figure out how to do it. So more text adventure type stuff like that, where things can just happen to your ship, and there's no reason why they can't add that in as a mode. There's already like 5 different modes that you can play the game as. If you don't want that, you don't have to have it, but you can if you want to. I'd love that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's always going to have its naysayers. There's always going to be people very bitter about this, you know. The most bitter $40 of their life. Honestly,
the worst mistake I ever made is
So, but if you're
Christ.
maybe, I don't know, it's like someone in Liam's position, and you wanted to see what this fuss is about, have a look. Even you could probably just watch people streaming it and stuff like that. You'd be able to get a good sense of it. That's one of the strengths of the game. We can watch someone streaming it and you'll have a completely different experience. The only thing with stuff like that is it doesn't always guarantee a good experience. Your first 5 planets could be totally shit. You know,
mine were this time. They really were disappointing this time.
Exactly. I've been so lucky this time, and in fact, right, there'll be a clip rolling as I'm talking right now. I am the luckiest man with No Man's Sky ever. Like, I found a player I provided evidence of last time, 3 hours into the game, 3 hours into release, I discovered another player. This time round,
you've just blown Sean Murray's mind.
Yeah,
friend.
exactly.
He cannot believe that.
And now I found a planet with every biome that I can imagine, and it's the best planet ever.
By the way, on that note, do you think the campaign, there's a bit of meta stuff going on in the campaign? When you read what the other traveller says, he's like, I can't believe this is happening. I found another traveller. This is historical.
It's
this
very
is pretty meta.
I like that.
Nods
At least
there.
they've got a sense of humour about it.
Yeah.
Not like trying to hide it and be ashamed of what they said.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they recognise that, their own kind of
and
stuff.
fair enough for them for working on the game a year later for free, basically, because I guess their reputation has been so damaged, their sales would have been hit hard by it. They're not getting any extra money from it. There's no microtransactions in this game, and there's still a wave of hate. They put out this new trailer, loads of dislikes, loads of hate, just because.
This video's already.
Exactly. I already know that it's going to be people going mad just because the game's reputation is so bad.
Yeah.
But through all that and through all the shit, they're still working on this game, still making vast improvements.
And also, let's not forget the little community. There's just through this whole time, there's just been a community around Reddit. There's been a No Man's Sky subreddit,
Science Division.
Yeah,
is that what they're called?
Yeah, exactly. And they would just love the game. Even the core game.
Yeah,
just been true. It doesn't matter what all these other all people on the internet have been saying. They don't care what the consensus is. They like the idea of No Man's Sky.
They're having fun. They're having fun on the game. And if you think that someone else having fun on a game just because you don't like it is bad, then you're just a fucking wrong, aren't you?
Welcome to YouTube gaming.
Yeah, shouts out to all the people that are posting cute little pictures on Reddit of like their little mind-blowing moments, because that is the best thing about No Man's Sky, having a moment where you go, having a Sean Murray mind-blowing moment where you go, whoa,
you came into work today like, look at this planet that I found.
I recorded footage of the planets I found.
I gotta show the guys.
There's this planet that I've landed on is the best one, and it's annoying for a lot of people because they're not going to experience the greatness.
Exactly. So there you go. No Man's Sky, is it good now? Is it worth playing now? The answer is a very Sean Murray yes. That's our review of No Man's Sky 1.3. Sean Murray saying yes.
Fantastic.
So let's move on to Hellblade then, which is complete opposite of No Man's Sky. It's a very linear, very focused game. Only came out last week. What was the August the 8th. So
no planets.
One planet.
No planets.
One area. Well,
no spoilers. Areas. No spoilers, guys. I mean, it's August. So it came out August the 8th on PS4 and PC. It's developed by Ninja Theory and published by Ninja Theory, actually. So they're kind of best known for Heavenly Sword and Enslaved Odyssey to the West, both of which have their fans. Interesting games. I've never heard anyone say that Enslaved Odyssey to the West is a bad game. They're kind of a good studio, a solid studio. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a very interesting game. Now, I've played it. I've beat it. You've beaten it as well, Liam.
Yep.
And you've just you've got a couple of hours in, maybe.
Yeah, I've done like the first area.
Okay, so we're all familiar with it at the very least. But I had some really strong feelings about this when I played it. I feel like it's an incredibly important game for a number of reasons. Right? It's like it explores themes that, you know, video games just don't do. I mean, it's well known by now that it's mental illness and mental health generally. I mean, the first credit that comes up, right, in the credit sequence at the beginning.
This game was made with assistance from psychiatric professionals.
Yeah, and even then, like the opening sequence, is like a cinematic. You're playing the game, but the credits are appearing kind of dynamically in the world, which is sweet. It's really cool. But the first credit is like mental health supervisor or advisor or whatever, you know, before game director or whatever. So that's how seriously they're taking it. And it not only is it an interesting storytelling plot device, it's so good, right? The mental health kind of aspect of the whole story. That's what the whole game is about.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to kind of see how they deal with it as a game. I mean, it does that kind of Brothers Tale of Two Sons thing where it makes the game tell a story, not just the dialogue and the words that they're showing you. The actual game, as you're playing it, is very important to the story and how it comes across. So first of all, let's just what's the big deal with it? Why is it so important? I mean, if you look at the world building of it to begin with, I mean, we can all talk about that. Like, what do you think of world building so far? It's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty great the way they've chucked you in that kind of hellish landscape straight away.
Yeah, it's nice. I love it. You kind of feel like you're thrust into the middle of a story, so it doesn't start off with humble beginnings. You know, you're kind of in the middle of it straight away. It takes a lot of inspiration from like Norse mythology. You'd think it was Celtic, and they talk about it being all Celtic and stuff.
She is Celtic.
Yeah,
herself.
but all the, you know, things, all the gods that they reference and stuff like that, it's all Norse. So I don't know what that's all about.
Well, it's kind of a plot thread that, but she is a Celtic Pictish person who has gone to those lands, foreign lands, and she's exploring that kind of.
They call
that's what they say. Yeah, so the world is very fleshed out. It feels, you know, authentic like that. So if you're paying attention and you realise it's European mythology, the world seems that way. The vegetation, from stuff like that, you know, to the rocks and stuff like that, everything seems very true. Very, very. I'll tell you what, you can't knock this game for is research. Very well researched. Like you said, the game starts off saying we've worked with these people that you know about mental health. So,
so you said then it chucks you into it straight away, and that's an interesting topic, because it literally does. Thematically, you're hearing voices, okay? Through the whole game, there's whispering voices in her head.
Senua suffers from like a very heavy form of psychosis.
Yes,
and there's multiple voices in her head telling her different things.
Yeah, doubting you.
Some encourage you to go forward. Some tell you to give up. Just turn back now.
They could have made it like inaudible, just like nonsense, but there's information there always, and it's always like doubtful. Exactly that. It's conflicting information, and it's all relative to where you are in the world. So it's not just like randomly different words that they're chucking out there. It's like if you come up to a door, they'll say, "Don't go through it. Don't go through that door. Don't go through that door. Don't do it. Don't do it." And then as you go to do it, they'll say, "What are you doing? Don't go through the door," and they're going to get more panicked and stuff. The way that's implemented is absolutely terrific, even down to the gameplay. Now, there's kind of maybe mild gameplay spoilers here, I guess, but the voices, there's no heads-up display at all in this game, at all, right? There's one very subtle one on her, kind of on her body, I guess, but that, you know, that is useful, but it's not like that's all there is. There's no button prompts. You just have to figure out what you do, or you hit pause and have a look at the controls, and everything that's explained to you is never done so in text. It's always like intuitive. So there might be mechanics in the game you don't realize are mechanics until you're like 2 hours in. So there's one, for example, in combat, when you get knocked down, you think, oh, okay, am I down? So you just maybe start hammering the buttons or something, but the voices will go focus like this, like telling you, so that might just be a bit of storytelling, right? But then after a while you realize that there is a focus ability. So you use the focus ability, which is never explained to you. You use the focus ability, you spring back to life, and you kick the arse of whatever just knocked you down. And that's a really fun kind of. There's so many like Rocky Balboa moments in this where you're like down on the mat like this, and things are desperate, and you're out for the count. But then you hit the focus button, and you're like back in the game, and it's amazing and satisfying as a gameplay mechanic. It works wonderfully as a storytelling device, as these voices, they're not only your enemy, they're part of you, and they kind of, they send you a kind of channel in her thoughts. What did you think of all that, kind of the way that was implemented, Liam?
I absolutely loved it. Like, I have to say, it's worth the game is heavily recommended to be played with headphones.
Totally.
Because it uses binaural audio, which is like what gives you the illusion of like voices going, and they tie that into a gameplay. So when you're in combat, it's not like Arkham Asylum where you get a button prompt telling you if there's an enemy coming behind you. The voices will actually whisper to Senua, and it sounds like it's coming from behind your head if you've got your headphones on, saying like behind you. So you have to dodge out of the way. But because the voices mess with you, there might not even be an enemy there sometimes.
It's incredible. It's really well done. It's terrific.
I can't sing this game's praises enough, to be honest.
Me too.
I loved it a great deal.
I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of it's Senua's sacrifice, right? All the game artwork is Senua's face. All of the game like narrative, like all the other characters they're never like framed in it properly. She is the focus all the time.
She's the sole character in the game, really.
Exactly. And the mental health thing throws so much like ambiguity on everything, which I love. Like personally, as a storytelling thing, I love when things aren't clear and you've got to think. You have to think about things afterwards.
Wow.
There's a lot of that going in there. I mean, Jake, you've played a couple of hours. Does it like? How do you feel about the early stages of the game?
I've got more than enough feelings about the voices, specifically my favourite mechanic. This is the most well done bit of audio in a game ever, right? What I love about these voices, just to give a little bit more detail, is that you've got all these separate voices coming from different directions, like what Liam was saying, and so the binaural sounds. However, like you've got this main voice, right? And she's like she feels like a guardian angel.
It's like you're in a monologue.
She's guiding. What I love, though, is that Senua is being controlled by these voices. And who else is she being controlled by? You, right?
Yeah.
And the voices address you as the player as well at times. So you feel like you're another voice inside the head. And I love that. I think that's really clever.
She also looks into the camera whenever she's interacting with
the camera.
Exactly. So you really do feel like you're one of these driving forces in the head. The voices make, but they also affect you. Like you guys were saying, the voices are a source of information, but they're also a source of doubt. Like there's a doorway, for example, like what you were saying earlier, Mike, and they're saying no, don't do it. And these are the same voices that earlier are giving you the advice, check behind you, and then you check behind you and there's an enemy there. So just like how I can imagine Senua would be, you don't know whether to trust these voices or not. So there's parts where they're saying jump down, and I'm thinking, do I know? So it already plays tricks on you in that way. And the fact that there's no heads-up display means that you're reliant on these voices. So the fact that you're reliant on these voices that are unreliable creates a great bit of conflict for the player. That's my that's my number one takeaway from that. Okay,
I agree with that.
That's the difference, because obviously, I guess games talking about mental health. People are talking about this. It's the most important thing. It's mental health and all that. I haven't finished it, but it's not the only game I've played this year with themes of mental health. Night in the Woods is a great example of it, probably the best one. What Remains of Edith Finch deals with it as well. But
as far as AAA goes as well, you've got like Dead Space and Dead Space 2 and stuff.
Yeah,
they went like that. They went pretty dark with that, and they actually had this, the idea of having co-op where you'd play two aspects. They never went through with it, but they had this idea for co-op early in development.
They actually did that in Dead Space 3. Like,
wasn't it?
If you played one person played as Isaac and the other played as John Carver, like the military sergeant.
Yeah.
And Isaac was like a bit hardened to it all, so he didn't see. But then whoever was playing as the co-op partner saw like hallucinations and different enemies.
Yes, that's what I was going to get to. But so the games have explored it and put mechanics in play as well. But there's something about this where it's so entrenched in the game.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So even for people that might be like, a bit dismissive of this, because what I'm saying is Hellblade's got a very bit of mainstream appeal at the moment, and a lot of people talking about this, a game that's so brave to deal with mental health, and it's the first one that's done it since Spec Ops: The Line. So if you know of any other games, like I've just named 2 examples from this year alone that also deal with mental health, you might be thinking, well, I already know games that have been talking about mental health, so is it going to be interesting for me? Is it going to be original? And what I'm saying is, yeah, it is. So it does something very different. So it doesn't deal with themes narratively. Well, it does, but I mean, it doesn't just do that. It's very immersive. It's very, very realised in a way that you can see, like from the camera's kind of just behind it. Like it's kind of claustrophobic.
Yes.
So you already feel like a bit, a bit closer, and like it adds to the sense of like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to say anxiety, but
it's like the game's designed to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it totally is.
As a representation of psychosis.
It even gets meta with it. So there's well-known big documentation in articles and stuff about it deletes your save files, because at the beginning of the game it tells you the game does not. If you take this too far,
you lose all progress.
Which you can keep track of by this kind of disease that's crawling up.
Yeah, it's like corrupting, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we can't talk about that without going into spoilers, but all I'd say is if that is a cause for concern, don't worry about it. Just jump in and enjoy the game.
And again, this isn't, these are spoilers that they've been all the reviews kind of make note of that. So you guys are doing very well to.
It's because I went in quite blind to it. I just went in to see what it was about, and I flipping loved it. I really enjoyed it. The themes were so ingrained in the game, and that's why I think it's such an important game, because it does what Brothers did, where it's got this theme and this topic, and that is completely a part of what the gameplay is and what the game is, right? And it's tackling an issue that that doesn't get covered that much. Everyone has experienced it or encountered it in some form, through family or personally or whatever, or friends. So it's that kind of, obviously it's a very extreme case of it, but it's an issue that is interesting. It's storytelling wise, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's not as straightforward as whatever you imagine this could be like. How's it dealing with mental health? You're probably seeing things that aren't really there or something. That is so shallow of an assumption that it goes far beyond that.
It seems like the fact that they've consulted with somebody who works with mental health, you already know that it's not going to be the glorification of mental health. It's not going to be like
not at all,
Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where it's like, ooh, people who've got mental health all dress up as their mum and kill people. You can tell that they're dealing with it in a subtle and nuanced way. They're not glorifying it. They're not making it a gimmick either. It is a main feature of the game. Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah.
I've seen some criticism about the game, saying that, because so far we've talked about this game, right? We've been talking about it for about 10 minutes. One thing we've not spoken about is anything other than the story. Walking simulators are full of this. Ooh, the narrative, ooh, the story. This game isn't that though, is it, guys? Because there's actual gameplay. So what would you say in counter to these people that are saying it's a walking simulator, or people that might be a bit anxious to buy it because it sounds like it's just a bit of story. I want to slice fake people. There's combat in it, isn't there?
Combat and puzzles.
What do you think of the combat?
It is a walking simulator, but it's a walking simulator in the sense that it's not like there's a lot of walking in it. It's paced like an indie game. It feels like an indie game in many ways.
Yeah.
The way it gives you a set of mechanics, and then those mechanics change based on the situation you're in and the scenario that you're in, and the way that it's quite a short game, and
like everything you say now sounds like Brothers, which is a fair assumption, isn't it?
And so it gives you a very simple set of things to do. There's no deep RPG system. There's no leveling up at all. There's no progression. There's no video game bollocks in it. It's just pure experience is what it's all about. You're just pushing forward, overcoming the obstacles that are in your way, very in an indie style, but it's presented to AAA wise. The combat though, I love it.
Yeah, it's very interactive, right?
I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
Everything flows so well together. The animation, the combo moves.
That's where the AAA comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, and it showed Ninja Theory are quite well known for their deep, intense combat systems, and it really does show in this as well.
Even that is so important to the story. You feel overwhelmed. Like, to begin with, it was a bit too easy. To begin with, I thought, I was like, it's awesome, right? This is awesome, but I am not scared enough. But then it keeps adding stuff, okay, and it keeps throwing more things at you, literally, so that it becomes you start feeling Senua's kind of, oh my god, how am I going to get this? Is too much. This is too long. This is too. But then I took that at first as a criticism. I was like, there's too much here. This is not fun. And then I was like, it shouldn't be fun. She's struggling. She's walking through hell. Like, literally.
I had the same experience with the voices. At one point, I was like, my god, these voices are getting annoying.
Yeah.
So I took my headphones off and had like a 10-minute break. And it dawned on me, like, that's genius.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what Senua must be feeling if that's all she hears 24/7.
Exactly, it's exactly that. It's everything is pointed towards this theme of Senua is struggling. It's mental health. Senua herself as a character is terrific because she is terrified and very vulnerable and very like there's a lot for her to deal with. But she's also just like fierce and she's just like, I've got to fucking deal with this shit, and she just like fights her way through it, which is, you know, again, part of the story, part of the theme, part of who she is as a character. It's terrific. It's an excellent achievement. I don't think critics have been warm enough on it for my liking. I think the Metascore is like 82.
It's creeping up though.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a point to it and a clarity to it that isn't getting enough praise for my liking. It's being reviewed as a video game, as a fun video game, and not as a. I don't want to sound like a twat here, but I'm gonna. As a piece of art.
Yeah, he's doing. This is.
Yes, Mike, you do.
No. I'm saying it. This is why like a walking simulator. There's no interactive gameplay, like in terms of combat or puzzles. It's just a story.
Yeah.
So you can focus on the story. Hellblade has got this story that's so strong and revered, and I haven't finished the game, but people are loving it, right? And you can see that. Anyone watching this video, just go on Google, you can see that. But there's these things that add to it to make it a game, which you'd argue is really using the strength of the medium of a game. It's not a film, it's a game. You are suffering. You feel like you are living through her. So that is one of the powers of video games, but it's kind of acting as a distraction, isn't it, a little bit to these critics. I think when people are reviewing it, there's people that have been saying love the action, love the puzzles, love the combat, but the walking's a bit boring. And then there's people who are more like my side of things, where it's like, I love the story, love where it's going, it's slowing down a bit by the fact that I've got to fight these people and do these annoying puzzles. So it's like, oh, it's so annoying because they've done two things right, and there's people that love one, and there's people that love the other. Yeah, well, and there's some people that love both.
That's what I was going to say. So for me, they've just executed. They've taken all these the elements of like walking simulator, you know, proper Ninja Theory, Devil May Cry style, like slasher kind of vicious combat, and they've you know, it's just intertwined it to tell and give an experience, to tell a story and give an experience, rather than what do we need? Like, do we multiplayer? Nah, you know, let's put some multiplayer in there. Have we got a skill tree? No, we haven't got a skill tree. Let's put a skill tree in there. They haven't done any of that, and that is super important about this game, because it's a $30. It's like a budget title. It's like, I don't know how much it is in America, but it's like £30 here, isn't it? It's not
$24.99. It
is. Yeah,
$24.99. So it's like, and they've called it independent AAA, and they've had this target and this ambition for what they want to do, and they've essentially made an indie game with indie principles and indie, like, we don't need skill trees, we don't need multiplayer, we're just going to make this experience, but it looks AAA, it sounds AAA.
AAA production values.
Exactly. So that's why I think it's so important, because it shows that is a feasible thing. You don't need to be a $60 game or like an $11.99 bargain bin indie game. Like you can be bargain shelf. Is bargain shelf? Is that better than bin?
I don't know. It's
gems.
It's all right,
I can't think of a way to say.
I've already silently judged you for the comment. No. I know what you're saying. You know, it's in a very particular position.
Yeah.
I feel that might be a hindrance, though. Just real quick. Yeah, because it looks AAA.
Yeah.
And it feels AAA, and people are reviewing it like it's a AAA game.
Yes. Yeah.
What Remains of Edith Finch is an indie game. We know it's an indie game. If you heard of that game, guys, I don't know if I've mentioned it enough.
Jake, you've mentioned it.
But people aren't reviewing that. When people review it, they know what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not getting marked down for maybe not having combat like another AAA game. Hellblade's getting compared to AAA games, which is so fucking annoying, because it's like, you make your indie game look so good, rather than be revered as like a wild good indie game. People are going to be going, but it's not got the open world of Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's a damn shame. And that's the one thing that I'm seeing about these reviewers, and I'm going, you little fuckers, they've worked so hard, and that is what they get. They get, compared to the EA budgeted game, you're not quite hitting the mark. And I'm thinking, you fucker, you little fuckers.
But that's the beautiful thing about the price, isn't it? I don't think you can feel ripped off at £25. You can't feel ripped off for it's 6.5 hours, but Christ almighty, how many AAA like first-person shooters have given us 4 5-hour campaigns?
COD campaigns.
For fuck's sakes, man.
3 hours.
And this is so far removed from a first-person shooter kind of campaign. It's just, I don't know. I think Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is an achievement. It's a great game. It's a great product. they should be very proud of themselves as a studio. I really hope it doesn't get overlooked in kind of, you know, when it comes to awards and Game of the Year kind of stuff, because it's...
I was going to ask you guys that. Is it a contender? Like, or can you see it being a contender? Even if it's not your
think it could be.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to get some recognition at least.
It definitely deserves it, because it does something so unique in many ways, by the themes, the what it is as a product. Like, 25 quid, but it's a bit of, you know, it takes elements from both indie and AAA. You know, the way it's ingrained combat into storytelling. I think it might become something of a kind of cult thing after a while. That people will say, remember Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice? That was good.
It's going to be the bar, isn't it, for a lot of things. When you're doing a game with fucking sounds, binaural sound or sound design, you've got this to live up to. If you're doing an indie game with good graphics, you've got this to live up to. It's the bar for a lot of high-end indie. This is about as high-end as you can get. And it's the biggest fish in a little pond. They've just plunked it into the ocean with EA and all that, and you see that's where it's landed. And
it's a very intense and emotionally complicated fish, and you know, therefore one of the best fish. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it won't get the attention because there's bigger, fatter fish that look prettier.
Whales with their shark cards.
Anyway, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a terrific game, and it needs to be
play it. It's a great game.
Simple as that. Yeah. All right. So finally, Shadow of Microtransactions.
Is that a new title?
No, it's like Shadow. Like someone said, Jim Sterling had Shadow of More Cash, which is good.
It's
newspapery good. It's like Daily Star kind of good. So, all right, Shadow of War has got microtransactions in it. We have covered it. We've done a video on it.
We did a very balanced video, didn't we? We Philip DeFranco the shit out of it. We were like, yo, here's some... We even like talked about some of the good things that people might have said. But now we can kind of just unwind, and we can talk about it. But you want to talk about something specific, don't you?
Yeah, there's been uproar basically about it, and it's a very messy situation. So let's just go over it very quickly. So Warner Brothers have taken a lot of flack for their announcement that Shadow of War is going to have microtransactions in it. So if you missed it, Middle-earth Shadow of War is the upcoming, you know, Lord of the Rings universe action adventure with a bit of strategy and role playing in it by Monolith Productions, who, you know, historically are a good studio, well regarded and everything. It's coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on October the 10th this year. So they're putting microtransactions in it. They announced it and they did a live stream to show off, you know, hello, look, this is how it's all going to work and stuff. That's how cool they are with all of it. That was very unpopular, that kind of decision. The microtransactions are going to come from a thing called a market, so that's their store, and it's basically the old Loot Crate currency thing, which is straight out of mobile games where you've got to get some currency. So they give you earnable in-game currency, which is shit and doesn't get you anything, and you can, you know, spend a bit of money on the premium currency, which is very, you know, you can buy a lot of crates for that or whatever. So it's classic, like fucking Simpsons tapped out mobile economy grindy fucking bollocks, and that is in Shadow of War. So you can buy loot chests and war chests, and they're going to have items in it, gear in it. You can get XP boosts to speed up the leveling up of your character. They've even got the orcs in them. So the orcs that you fight and can recruit in-game, like it was a key feature of the Shadow of Mordor, the Nemesis system, which had so much praise, so much hope, so much, yes, this is gaming, this is proper gaming.
Best part of the game.
Yeah, and then Warner Brothers went, people like this, let's put microtransactions on it.
Let's send it into FIFA Ultimate Team.
Exactly. That is exactly what has happened. So, people were talking about it so much on the Steam forums. There were so many threads about it that they kind of made one big sticky pinned thread, and they kind of revived an old discussion about it. And there's 2,000 comments on there now of a discussion that is going like left and right. A lot of people are very, very upset. But some people are also going, well, you know, you can ignore them. You don't have to buy the microtransactions. It's just part of gaming now. This is what they have to do to make money.
Some people even defending it,
saying that they fucking want it. So we'll get to that. So people are passionate about this.
Yes.
What I want to talk about first of all, the fact that there's been a strong community reaction to it. Do you think Warner Brothers took that into account? And do you think that if they had, they went, let's just do it anyway. Like, we'll get a certain amount of kickback. They always have to factor that kind of thing in. Let's just go for it. Because in their statement, when they announced it, they were already like damping down the ground, like ready for the fire. Do you know what I mean? They were like...
they knew it was coming.
Yeah, some quotes that I've got for you here. Everything a player can buy with gold can also be earned in the game over time for free, but gold gives players the option to acquire these items faster, and that is one of the things. Like, oh, you don't have to buy it; you can earn it, but you can
accelerated rewards.
We'll get to that. Yeah, accelerated rewards.
Remember our old mate at EA?
Jesus. No gold purchases are necessary to enjoy the complete game experience. By simply engaging with the world and playing through Middle-earth: Shadow of War, you can earn items like gear for Talion and unique orcs for your army. So what they're saying is, you don't need to spend any gold. You can just play the game and enjoy it, which sounds fair enough, right? But this is what they've done, right? You don't have to play the game, guys. You don't have to play the game. Spend a bit of money. Skip all that gaming shit.
So it's like there's a mechanic in Metal Gear Solid 5 called the Forward Operating Base, or FOB, and it was used in competitive online play, and it's what Shadow of Mordor's doing as well.
That's right, they've announced this as well, haven't they?
You can invade your friends' fortresses, kill each other's orcs and staff, like you could in Metal Gear.
Yeah. Sounds shite to me, to be honest. I can't even...
it was annoying as hell. Like, your base would just get randomly attacked and you'd lose valuable resources.
Exactly like it does in Clash of Clans, for example, where the whole idea is to make you think, fuck, I need to defend my base better and get more defensive stuff so you can protect your horde of gems or whatever the fucking shit that you buy.
The problem with Metal Gear Solid 5 was, when it started out, it was alright. It gave you quite a lot of stuff. Like, research was done fast. But as you got further and further into the game, the grind became unbearable.
Right.
And it's like, it's seen as encouraging you to buy microtransactions to speed up this process.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest fear that people have with Shadow of War.
It has to do that. It has to make those microtransactions valuable, because why would anyone do it otherwise? If it was easy to accumulate that stuff in game, why would you spend your money on that? It's got to be like that. And it's about balance and stuff, and the fact that some people think that you can ignore it. You can't ignore it, really, because it's there in the heads-up display, it's there in the UI, it's ingrained in the game that you need to get. There's currency there. You're always going to be reminded that you've got 300 silver things, you've got 3 gold things. What have you only got 3 for? You need more gold things, mate. You need a lot more gold things. There's always like a little reminder there for you constantly.
Yes.
Just coming out of some Fortnite, which is possibly the worst example of a free-to-play model in a proper full-fat game that I've ever seen. Maybe there's so much in there that's aimed towards monetization, which is frustrating because the core of the game is pretty fun, but it's just built around it. You just can't escape it. You can't play that game and ignore the fact that there's microtransactions in it. And I think that's what people might be worried about with Shadow of War.
Yeah, so I just hate the fact that there'll be like a store button. I just hate it.
Yeah.
And I know that's such a privilege, and you guys might be saying that's such a minor thing, just ignore it. But you're right, it's annoying. It's constantly seeing it in the corner of the screen, and constantly, maybe occasionally every 3 hours I can save up enough to have a war chest. It's not, I mean, we're gonna have to do it, aren't we? It's not a transaction. A transaction is go into a vending machine, going, oh, I fancy a Twix, C6. A Twix pops out. Not, I fancy a Twix, let me put my 60p in or whatever.
And see what
press the button, a bounty, I fucking hate this.
Let me go again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What is that, right?
It's gambling.
It's gambling. You don't even get a Twix in fucking Shadow of War, do you?
No.
You just get a fucking Bosnock the Orc.
Another orc.
I don't want fucking all that shit. But this is exactly where this sort of sense of urgency, and this is what the tendrils, it's all part of it, right? It's online, like Liam was saying, and yeah, sure, you can research archers, or you can research your fucking, what are they called? Wargs?
Yeah,
wargs, a warg pit. Because I'm thinking of Game of Thrones, aren't I? So I'm like, brown wargs into people. Anyway, your warg pit or whatever, Karragar pits. You can do that, and it'll take 24 hours, or spend gold, or roll for it. And you think, oh fuck, Liam's gonna come to my base and fuck my shit up in a minute. I better get the bastard.
It's not even Liam though. It's just
not even Liam.
It's just some prick who's got fucking nothing.
I can't tell you how many times that happened to me in Metal Gear Solid 5. Where I was playing a game and Just I got a notification. Your base is being invaded. Go to defend it. Literally can't defend it because he's bought all the best gear in the game, and I was still like 40 hours left to unlock it.
And you might think it doesn't matter, it's only a game, but it's just demeaning the fact that you're getting fucking owned by some 16-year-old kid who's fucking
found his mum's credit.
He's found his mum's credit card, and you think, just fuck off! I want to go into Middle Earth, you little bitch. Leave me alone.
It's completely immersion breaking. It takes you out. It just yanks you out of the world that you're in completely. I mean, the idea that, you know, the idea that you can just skip a big portion of gameplay is what really gets me about it. I can't believe, you know, fair enough in a mobile game because it's just a fucking mobile game. You didn't pay anything for it. It's like tapping. It's not an immersive experience. It's just light management game. Fair enough if you want to just skip through all that shit. It's not a good game. I wouldn't even consider Simpsons Tapped Out to be a game. I don't know what it is. It's just some kind of beauty thing. Like, it's just like a little, you know, draw your own little Springfield thing and draw it a little bit faster if you want to spend money on it. With this, you've already spent 40 quid on it. You spent 40, 50 quid on it. You've bought a game. You want to play fucking Shadow of Mordor.
You've watched 9 months of developer diaries talking about how amazing the story and world is. You've seen them big this up for months and months and months.
I feel for the developers
talking about how good this game is, and then it's like, you know, all that shit though, fuck all that. Let's get some big Australian orc. Do you want that orc quicker than everyone else got us that orc? Get that orc. Yes, the developers. Let's get into this because this is fucking of utter importance. The developers, right? And I don't care if there's a black Gondorian in there. Monolith. Fuck off with that. You know that you can see the divide. You can see where the love for Tolkien and the love for Middle Earth has been sliced by Warner Bros. You can see that Monolith have tried to make it. This is why people are defending the game, because Monolith have tried to make it have at least gravitas as possible. They want to make it as impactless as possible. They're like, well, you can play it without it, guys, because that's what we want you to do. But the big hand upstairs is like, fucking don't do it. You can see that they love the game. They've put effort in. Like the currency, can't remember the name of it, but it's
like Mirror and Gold.
Miriam, like Miriam, an old woman's name, but with an N. And it's that is the old currency that's referenced in old Tolkien notes to his friends. The currency of Gondor. That's some hardcore fucking knowledge there from
a lot of it is. A lot of Shadow of Mordor was cool. It was really good Tolkien stuff. Like, you know, it was all like, you know, off canon or whatever. You know,
aren't you seeing Minas Morgul before it was taken over by the Dark Forces in this, or Seraphungul, whatever? You're seeing one of the old cities before it was taken over by the Dark Forces. There's so much Tolkien lore in there. See, this is what you saw for 9 months. You saw all the shit. Yeah, there was a Gondorian soldier that was black that caused a massive kickoff. But other than that, the rest of it was like quite true to the lore. They'd gone through his letters, they'd gone through it, and then they add this on the top. They add this on the top. It's like seeing someone's toil, getting fine ingredients, making a big meal, and then Warner Bros have just gone top and gone, people like ketchup, don't they? Fucking like Donald Trump putting ketchup on a steak. Fuck off.
But it's not even like people like ketchup, don't they? It's like people like ketchup, don't they? Here's loads of sachets of ketchup. You've got to pay to open all of them. It's like
it's £5 per sachet.
It's awful, really, because you know when they reveal, I don't know what that fucking black Gondorian thing was about, but like fucking, I was just pure hype for that. I mean, the fact that there's a black Gondorian soldier.
They never mentioned.
What the fuck is your problem? If
Gondorians are clearly based on something else.
Fucking piss off, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like there's the whole trailer, the whole reveal trailer, the whole war like side of it, like marching up to a fortress with an army of orcs that you've like recruited and built up, and that whole Football Manager side of it, you know, without the FIFA Ultimate Team side of it, was really cool. Like, you know, just a complete evolution of Shadow of Mordor. Probably exactly what, if you'd asked anyone, how could you make Shadow of Mordor more interesting? Well, just ramp up the scale, give me more stuff to do, give me castles to take over and stuff. It looked like amazing, and despite all that, despite the fact that I'm the biggest Lord of the Rings fan going, despite the fact that I'm completely
Say it. Got competition here.
What? No. I know what he's going to say. I'm rallying.
What? Go.
You're building to it, aren't you?
What?
Same as me. You're not going to buy the fucking game.
I'm not going to buy the fucking game.
I'm not going to buy the fucking game. I'm not going to buy
exactly. Okay, and here's the. I'm not doing it out of protest. I'm not like, oh, screw this. I need to vote with my wallet or anything like that. I'm just saying, I don't want that. I don't want my fortress to be invaded. I don't want to be thrust, you know, I don't want fucking loot crates and stuff like that. None of that is appealing to me in the slightest. I hate opening loot boxes.
Yes.
I hate all of the microtransaction stuff because it feels like I'm I'm involved in a market rather than playing a game. I want to be sold on the fiction of being Talion in Mordor, not on like, you know, can I get a better orc?
And here's a top tip for anyone listening. If you want to play Shadow War, where you get to be Talion in Mordor, and you don't want loot crates, and you don't want your base to be invaded by
Shadow of Mordor.
Play Shadow of Mordor, because it fucking exists there already.
And it's awesome.
And if you want to follow Warner Bros. Advice and skip major parts of the game, because who wants to play a game after all? Just watch a Let's Play, innit? Just fucking watch a Let's Play.
Don't buy the game and just
don't buy it. Save yourself some money. Don't buy the game. Watch a Let's Play, you'll get all the enjoyment of the game without playing a game, and you don't have to fucking buy the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try and remember, if you don't want to play the game, don't fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Don't buy it and then pay more.
Yeah. Just pretend you've got loads of orcs, because that's basically what the microtransactions are for anyway. I have pretend orcs now. Might as well be like, I've got loads of orcs. That's what I've got now. You don't even have to spend any money.
Shadow of Mordor. It's probably the price of a microtransaction, isn't it? It's probably like £4 now or something.
Watch the Battle of Helm's Deep and pretend you're the orcs.
And pretend those are your orcs. That's as simple as that.
Exactly.
So yeah, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, sorry, what a way to fucking make a mess out of something that could have been very, very cool. I really hope they will backtrack on this to some degree. Even if they do, I don't know. They'd have to really completely gut it out of the game for me to be interested in it at all. But I hope for the people who do buy it, and even for the people who think that, you know, I'm not that bothered about microtransactions, I hope they don't like shove it in their face and down their throats, which they very easily could do. I hope they just calm down and dial it back a little bit. I do have one last question though, which we haven't touched on. Why does Overwatch and EA game, you know, Battlefield 1 and Activision or whatever, whoever else does microtransactions, I can't fucking remember. Does Activision do it?
Game.
I can't.
Yeah.
So I mean, why do they kind of get away with it? It's kind of like, oh yeah, of course there's microtransactions. Why do they kind of get away with it? Whereas this has like upset so many people. What's the difference?
I think it's because in games like Battlefield and stuff, for the most part, and Overwatch as well, it's always cosmetic.
Yeah.
Whereas Shadow of War, this is literally tied into one of the game's main mechanics, that being the Nemesis system.
It's fully like a mobile game, isn't it? It's proper assets.
It's like fully integrated. Whereas in Overwatch, you can, if you want a new skin, you can take a gamble on a box, but it doesn't affect the game at all.
Overwatch is a game which is online, and you're playing against thousands of other people, and a lot of the time people play games for satisfaction, to overcome a challenge, to feel like realised, to go through an experience. When you're playing a game like Overwatch and stuff like that, and you're playing with all these thousands of people, and there's only a certain amount of heroes you can play, Hanzo and all that, you might want to stand out. And if you want to stand out, if you need that inside yourself, you need to feel like you stand out, you can spend £1 on the chance to look like a cowboy or whatever, and that makes you feel happy, right? Then the option is there. But for something like a single player game, predominantly like Shadow of Mordor, where everything could be done through the fucking prompt, console commands and shit, you're paying for cheat codes, fuck off with all that. They have got that online thing on it, but you see, I think that's why they get away with it.
That's only there though. That's only there to facilitate the microtransactions.
To make it
be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's there to give people a reason to do it, you see. So with Overwatch and shit like that, it makes no difference to the gameplay either, does it?
No.
Right? Whereas this does. This genuinely does.
Yeah, this will impact your orc army in the game. If you get rare orcs in a loot box, that gives you a distinct advantage over a player.
And your own progression as well. You can actually level up faster with XP boost. That's big. That's a big difference. The argument for cosmetics being bad is that it leads to shit like this. It leads to shit like Shadow War. Because if you let them do cosmetics, as soon as they get that ground, they look ahead to see, all right, what else can we do?
I've got a whole different problem with cosmetics. You know, like, my issue is with loot boxes.
Yes,
in their entirety, like
the gambling side. Of it.
If I want to buy a skin in a multiplayer game, why can't I just buy that skin? Why do I have to gamble in a loot box?
You're totally right.
If I wanted an orc in Shadow of War, why can't I just buy that orc for like 50p or whatever?
Like DLC, right?
Yeah.
You know, downloadable content. You download it with a price, and it's content that you've chosen.
But even that, you see, is just evolved from, you know, I'm trying to think back, maybe like PlanetSide 2, where you like, there was different skins for guns, and you're like, I'll have that skin, please. And you just give them a bit of money, and you get that skin. So then again, that moves on to how do we make that more profitable? Make it a loot
You're totally right. You know, it is like the gateway drug, and it's the way of like normalizing microtransactions. I just want to put this out there. I have not spent a penny on a cosmetic microtransaction at all. In fact, I don't think I spent a penny on any microtransaction at all.
No.
I bought on GOG a fucking Pinata, which is a random game for £2.49, because I feel like I like that website, right? And I wanted to test it out. I got a game that I liked from it, so I was happy with it. Putting content on a single player game behind stuff that you can't guarantee, like Liam's saying, you can't go and buy it. You have to gamble it up.
You have to like pay for the chance.
It's a different level of shit than cosmetics, but they are both shite, and microtransactions shouldn't even fucking be in games. And I will be very, very surprised if in 2018 there isn't someone making a change.org petition or someone doing something to make this like, you know, a genuine thing like about gambling.
Yeah.
This is gambling, and the sooner people do something about it legally, the better, because it's fucking evil.
You can sell this to kids. Kids
it's horrible. At the core,
China literally has laws against this sort of thing.
Good.
Like, Blizzard had to reveal the like drop rates for their Overwatch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. League of Legends did it as well. Exactly. So it's predatory. It's nasty, and I genuinely think though, guys, right, to try and be positive about the whole thing, I have a feeling that the games industry and gamers as a whole, something's going to happen very soon, and there's going to be regulations for this, because at the end of the day, when you think about it a lot, if it was a slot machine doing this, it'd be illegal, right? So what they're doing is so grey area, and I think it'll change really soon. So I reckon try and be positive about it, because it'll change. But fuck all for now, innit?
Yeah.
Wait for it to change. It will get better.
Screw Warner Brothers. Okay, so that's all our topics for this week. So let's move on to the fact of the week. Sorry we kept you waiting so long. We've got a good one this week for you guys. So fact of the week, jingle. Okay. So fact of the week. Here we go. Did you know Robert Kendo, the gun shop owner at the start of Resident Evil 2, is a good friend of Barry Burton from the first game? So, let's move on to the comments. Cropper says on our Patreon, we've explained this to you before, but I'll explain it again. All these comments come from our Patreon feed. If you're a patron and you want to ask us a question, just reply to this podcast on our Patreon feed. Just give us your questions and we'll answer them next week for you. Cropper says, what up, pimps? If you could mix two games together for your perfect game, what would it be? For me, I'd love to see a Witcher Total War series, or maybe Battlegrounds mixed with Battlefield 1. Blending two games together, guys, what do you reckon? No Man's Sky with literally anything that's got good story. No Man's Sky with Knights of the Old Republic. Because No Man's Sky's potential, with the quality and the depth of awesomeness of Knights of the Old Republic.
That's a fucking good one.
That's mine.
I'm going to say a Final Fantasy game, but with the very high production value and detailed story of, say, Uncharted. Something like that.
Cool.
Oh, you know what, guys? I don't know.
It's like Edith Finch and
Tenchu on a skateboard. That's the quote of the day. That's a Skate 4 and Tenchu quote. No, I reckon
Skate 4 ninjas.
Yeah, that's what Skate needs.
I am into
more swords. No, I'd like to see something stealthy happening again. Like like how they had like Tenchu and stuff like that. But maybe mixed with, I don't know, I want to see something like, I want to see a timeline you don't see often. I want to maybe like a stealth game, but like a medieval one, like you know, like you're an assassin, like I don't know, like
Assassin's Creed. You know, you could call it like Assassin's Creed or something, and you could just explore like like medieval. Maybe in like the Crusades era. Where there's like castles, stuff like that. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah. You fucker. I don't know. I want to see. It's like I would like to see some like Game of Thrones style shit. You see what I'm saying? That's castles and dragons and stuff. But from maybe, but like you can infiltrate castles, fully realized castles, like Mountain Blades. A big sandboxy thing like that. Yeah. But you've got to rely on stealth rather than swords and stuff, which will be even more challenging as chainmail and stuff like that.
Like sticks, but serious and more.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like a medieval hit.
Like
because
you can stab them with a dagger or poison their drink.
Exactly, because there was no guns and stuff like that, and chainmail and things. Knifing people would be harder. I want to see a stealthy medieval game, basically.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good nice. Shouts, everyone. Cheeky Breaky says, what's your guys' opinions on Escape from Tarkov? Has anyone played that?
No. I've heard of it. It's like from the
Stalker, isn't it?
As a diehard Stalker fan, for me at least, it's been the best thing to come out in a long while. New to the show, really enjoying it. Well, cheers, Cheeky Breaky. Sorry, we haven't played that. Any Stalker fans?
Yeah, Stalker's pretty dope.
I played Stalker. It was great.
Yeah.
I bought it in the Steam summer sale recently. It's on my, but I bought like a 12 games, so I haven't got around to that one yet. But I'm going to be playing it.
It's got a cult following, Stalker. So if it's something similar, then I can see.
I think Escape from Tarkov's like an online version of Stalker.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's in closed beta at the minute, I think.
Sweet.
You can buy into it early.
Have a look in a minute.
Yeah, we'll check it out, Cheeky Breaky. Thanks for the comment.
Cheers.
Hope you're enjoying it. Josh Northall says, seeing as Liam is a fan of anime.
He's got it.
I've been pegged
likes Japan.
I've been pegged as an anime fan now because I said I watched a couple anime.
What?
Well, blow me down. What anime would you like to see made into a game, and what genre would it be? Good question.
Imagine if they made a game based on Pokemon.
Fun.
Mad.
That would be popular. I feel that would be good.
I think you could do Black Lagoon as like an intense third-person shooter, maybe from Platinum Games.
Sweet.
Yeah, so there you go.
I've not seen many anime things. Attack on Titan, but
it's already been done.
It's already been done, like 3 or 4 games.
I was going to say, I kind of looked into it a little bit after watching the show. It's like, I don't know. So cool. Thanks for your question, Josh. Jackson Renan says, I've just revisited Deus Ex Mankind Divided to play the story DLC. I really enjoyed the game as a whole, but I agree that the ending was pretty abrupt and left a bit to be desired. Did any of you guys play it? What did you think? Liam, you played it?
I did. I bought it on release day, finished it in a couple of days. I absolutely loved the previous game, Human Revolution.
Yep.
And I feel the exact same way about Mankind Divided. It was a great game that Square Enix just cut the ending off because they wanted to make
heartbroken, I think the word
I did use heartbroken because I love that series so much. And yeah, the game just literally just ends on a conversation in your character's apartment. Like no end. It feels like when you get to the final boss of the game, it feels like you've just finished the first act of the game.
I see. Yeah.
And then it's like, I can't wait to see what we're going to do next. Roll credits.
Yeah.
And Square Enix cut it off to make a sequel. Now they've put the series on hold because Mankind Divided didn't do as well. And
funny that.
Yeah. And we might never see this sequel now.
After they did all the fucking augmented pre-order bollocks. Literally everything they could to torpedo this shit.
Speed up microtransactions in Mankind Divided as well.
See, Warner Brothers, learn the fucking lesson, all right? Learn the lesson.
See what happened to Square Enix and Mankind Divided.
Like, how could you do Deus Ex wrong? If the game is good, what could you do as a publisher to torpedo it? Well, just look at everything that Square Enix did. That is all you need to do.
Yeah. It was such a good game as well. They had so much potential and they got greedy and they killed it.
Damn it. Well, thanks for your question, Jackson. Stephen Hughes says, Hellblade sees the protagonist struggling with mental illness, a topic I find doesn't get a lot of coverage in video games. What are some themes or subjects you feel don't get enough attention that you would like to see more of in the medium? So, we've talked about Hellblade at length, and mental illness, certainly one of those topics that doesn't get talked about enough. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that you could do. So many things happening in the world now. I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but it is incredibly busy from a world news kind of point of view. There's so many issues and stuff that you could talk about that would make very, very interesting games. Like something like This War of Mine, which was a story about war, but you never saw the war. You were just kind of surviving the war from a distance. You were in the equivalent of Syria or whatever, just kind of trying to survive.
You weren't a soldier, right?
Which was very, very interesting, right? So there's a lot of things you could definitely do. I don't know. Have you guys got any suggestions?
I don't know. Maybe something like, PTSD. There's a lot of war games out there, but a lot of war games don't deal with...
War is awesome, according to video games, isn't it?
Like Spec Ops The Line is really the only game that deals with the psychological impact war can have on a person.
Yeah.
So I think that game gets sung for its depiction of soldiers and war.
More of that.
Why don't we see more of that these days?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I mean, there's so many issues. I mean, when it comes to health and stuff like that, I suppose mental health is probably difficult to portray because it's not what does it look like? Do you know what I mean? It's quite, and it affects people in different ways. There's all kinds of different mental health problems that you can have, so it's very difficult to explore, I suppose. So, but PTSD would be a very interesting one because you're exactly right. All video games kind of make war look awesome. Not many of them make it look like something bad.
Yeah, there was an interesting game called 6 Days in Fallujah, which is meant to be about like the psychological impact of a squad from the Iraq War.
Yeah.
And they described it as like a survival horror game. But then I remember there was a load of controversy around it because the Iraq War was still happening.
Right. Yeah.
And it just ended up getting cancelled because they thought it was too risky to go ahead with.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a really good question, Stephen. Thank you very much. Fletcher Stanton. If you could shapeshift into any person at will, back and forth, but only that person, real life or video game character, who would it be? Who would it be and why? But only that person, real life or video game character, who would it be and why? What does that mean?
So
that's the same question.
Anyone, really, isn't it?
If you could shapeshift into a person at will, back and forth, so it doesn't have to just be a video game character?
Yeah, no, but you can only pick that person. You can't shapeshift into anyone you want. You have to pick one person and you're stuck with them for life. You can only be you or other person.
Or that other person. I don't know. It depends what your goals are, really. I think... I don't know. I don't know what other person could give me abilities that I don't have.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yes.
I don't know, you do something like... don't know, superhero or something like Iron Man, then you morph into a billionaire with loads of cool shit.
Yeah, so you become that billionaire. You could like identity theft or something. Just scroll around, just channel all his cash into your account or something.
Exactly,
yeah. And that's you would be none the wiser.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I really don't know. I mean, what video game character? I mean, does that rule out like animals and stuff?
Yeah, Roach.
You'd be like,
Roach. I want to be Roach in The Witcher 3, mate.
Be Ratchet.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that the thing with a lot of these video game characters, they're always put in the face of peril, so the situations aren't never really that good, really. So it's like I don't really want to be Joel from The Last of Us because he's in a bit of a shitty situation.
Could you say something like Mario, and then because if you die, you just come back.
Yeah,
so you could, in theory, live forever if you keep getting one-ups.
Yeah, and the Mushroom Kingdoms looks proper nice.
Yeah.
I'd love
decent.
to be. Yeah,
it's decent that Mushroom Kingdom.
I wouldn't want to be Luigi though. He gets a bit trod on, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what though? Do you know what? You've got a wild good point. I'd be someone from fucking Super Mario, man. The Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, you just keep coming back. If you die, you could die in the most horrific way. Doesn't matter. You'll just come back.
Just not Luigi.
Yeah, just a Koopa Trooper or something.
All right. Cheers for the question, Fletcher. Paul Dagnall. I'm not much of a mobile gamer, but is there any you think I should try while my games are packed away? Not Candy Crush, sorry, Gaz. So what mobile games would you recommend to Paul Dagnall while his proper video games?
There's quite a lot of good
There's RPGs a lot of good stuff
on mobile now. You get like Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Get all the Final Fantasy games, Dragon Quest.
Yeah, the PlayStation 1 Final
Chrono
Fantasy
Trigger's on there, Secret of Mana. There's loads of good
Final
games.
Fantasy 9's aged the best out of them.
Oh, I'm replaying that. I just started playing that a couple of days ago on my iPad, and it's wonderful. It looks amazing. They've kind of ramped up the actual characters, so they've got high resolutions, but the backgrounds are still drawings. It's wonderful.
Final Fantasy 9's a good shout.
So it depends what you're on. Yeah, if you're on tablet, I guess.
Lost you a while as well.
Yeah,
like Final Fantasy 9.
There's a load of good mobile games.
Elder Scrolls Legends. I've been playing pretty much non-stop. I love it. It's free.
Hearthstone, that's good.
Yeah, Hearthstone. Yeah, if you want a card game, Elder Scrolls, you can. What I like is that I just pick up where I left off. I've got it on the Mac here. I've got it on my computer. I've got it on my phone, and you can just jump between accounts. I haven't spent a penny on it so far. I've got such good, like my decks are well good, and I've not paid any money at all, and I love that. I like that as an unintrusive microtransaction, and for a free game. Can't complain. I've been spending a lot of time on it.
My top recommendation, if you're on a mobile, like proper mobile phone, like get Reigns, which is just fantastic.
Reigns, like the weather
Reigns,
condition.
REIGNS, as a king that reigns, and
take the reins.
Yeah, you're kind of. It's basically just decisions. Swipe left for yes, swipe right for no, and it's so simple, but it just remembers decisions that you make all the way through, and it's so creative, and it's basically a family lineage of kings, and then you every decision takes you about a year, I think. So then after you do the decision, next year, but you've got like bars that go up and down, like your public order, your religious thing, your military, and your money, and they go up and down based on your decisions. But it gives you no feedback. You don't know what the right decision is until you've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just a wonderful game. It's so easy because you're just sat there holding a phone, swiping left and right. If you can just fire it up wherever you are.
It's like video game Tinder.
Leo kept looking. I was thinking he's going to say Tinder.
That's how it was reviewed. You know, when it came out, it was like it was like Tinder but video games.
Tinder but monarchy.
It's well good. It's like it gets silly as well. It gets very creative and it's very cheap. So that's my top mobile phone recommendation.
Sounds good.
So Matthew John Jenkins says, if you could have any games turned into a really well-made TV or film series, what games would they be? I would love to see BioShock, Hitman, Halo, Splinter Cell, and Metal Gear Solid done. We've already had The Witcher on, which is coming on Netflix, which is
sometime.
Yeah, in production, I guess.
I've said before, I'd love to see a BioShock prequel, like on Netflix, 10-part Fall of Rapture series.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be well good.
Boardwalk Empire style deco.
Yeah.
Let have all the warring factions, like the government and the mafia.
That would be cool.
And just leading up to the Fall of Rapture. I think that's my one again.
That would be a very good one. I don't know, Jake, you got any?
I don't know. I think Pillars of Eternity would make a good TV show.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, it's got a nice bit of story, but then again, it would be just like any other high fantasy thing, and it'd reach all those comparisons. So perhaps not that. Maybe I don't know, a TV show.
What would they make though? It'd be like Assassin's Creed, definitely. We've already had a movie on that. It would be
shit, by the way.
Call of Duty.
Hitman. They would do Hitman sounds about right. Final Fantasy 7 would be fucking good if they told that story properly for a TV show. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot that they could do. I think BioShock sounds that'll be my
probably the best.
I guess my vote as well. Cheers, Matthew. Good question. PGG Troll asks, this question is for everyone. If you could add a feature to one of your favourite games, what would it be? If you could add a feature to one of your favourite games.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's like it changes. If you add a feature that's too big, it'll just completely change what the game is. Like if you made something linear, open world, would the game be as good if it was open world?
Proper multiplayer to No Man's Sky.
Stick multiplayer.
Low hanging fruit of what?
Yeah. It's a tough question. That I think it's harder than if you really think about it. Like LA Noire had open world. You know, you could drive around and do anything. But what was the fucking point?
It was some crap with the open world, wasn't it?
Yeah.
LA Noire.
What was the point?
Otherwise, an awesome game.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I don't know. I think I'd probably want to see some kind of like. I do like interactions and character dialogue and stuff like that, and being able to explore, the depths of lore and things like that. So I don't know, adding some kind of conversation system to a game that doesn't have one. Maybe I think that's the least intrusive I can think of.
Yeah,
something where you can actually have a chat, have a chat with people and interact. I always feel like that adds a lot of depth to the things that you're doing. If you're just walking past NPCs that are like robotic and do nothing, but if you had like a BioWare style conversation with them, then that that could add a lot. I don't know.
I'd like to see Metal Gear Solid, the first one, but with actual modern movement controls.
Yeah,
that'd make that
just remade.
Yeah, just remake Metal Gear Solid 1, but with like the gameplay mechanics of 5, and that could be an incredible game.
It's got to be something fucking well good.
Yeah. Kieran W. Speaking of bugs in Hellblade, have any of you experienced a bug that single-handedly ruined the game for you, or on the contrary, made the game more enjoyable? A bug that single-handedly ruined or made a game better.
I've got one.
That's a reference to the Jim Sterling review. I'm taking it. The Hellblade bug.
Yeah. I've got in Final Fantasy VI. There was the original. There was a bug where there's a spell called Vanish in the game, which made you invisible and upped your evasion rate, made it harder for enemies to hit you. But you could cast that on an enemy, and then you could cast the Doom spell on them, which was a 1% chance of an instant kill.
Right.
But if you cast Vanish, then Doom on them, it insta killed them no matter what, boss or otherwise.
Wow.
And it made the game pretty funny.
Exploiting
these massive bosses built up, going, I will destroy your soul. It's like, nah, Vanish, Doom, done. And you just it made grinding in that game hilariously easy. But yeah, that was actually a funny exploit.
Right. I can't think of anything really. I don't tend to remember stuff like that for some reason. I don't.
No, you know what? I don't either. I'd be pissing people off if I was properly reviewing games, because I'm always like, Like Yonder. I was playing Yonder. There was a bug. I had to start the game again because I couldn't pick up some sticks. Right, just start the game again. 2 hours later, I'm back at it. Didn't even think to mention it until you get stuff like that.
Simply Phil says, if time and money was no object, what would be the one thing you would love to be able to do / cover on your channel? Gamescom, innit? Just go to Gamescom and cover that. That's my answer. What are you guys?
I'd love to do like in-depth research stuff. Like 15-minute videos just on like really like obscure topics, kind of like Did You Know Gaming, but a bit more long format.
Yeah,
I'd love to do stuff like that where you could just like call up developers and ask them like loads of stupid questions and stuff like that.
I think like no clip stuff would be amazing to do. Just like documentaries, like going to the studio and interviewing them, and
that'd be good.
I was contemplating starting a false documentary where I try and get Tenchi back for the Wednesday special. I've made some steps. I emailed the developer. Who, by the way, do you know the right holders to Tenchi was From Software? You make Dark Souls and that, right? So I've tweeted them and they gave me an email address.
Did you film yourself tweeting?
And I've emailed them. I've got screen recording of it, yeah.
Okay.
So I might actually make the Tenchi documentary, which will be fucking well funny.
Sounds awesome.
So yeah, I don't know really. Just going all the games conventions, innit? Like E3 Gamescom's the best one, I reckon, which is soon. So
fly out to Cologne, Germany.
Yeah.
Spend a week there, or however long it is.
From what I've heard from every kind of games media person who goes to these things, is much better than E3 to be at, because E3 is just chaos and Gamescom has just got better facilities and more space and just more, as an event, it's just much better executed. So I'd love to go to Gamescom. So Dom Garforth says, has there ever been a game that you found yourself obsessed with? Oh god, yeah, loads of them. The one I can really, the word obsessed, right, really obsessed, I can remember, weirdly, is GTA San Andreas, because it was so huge, and it was like, this is unbelievable. I'd never experienced anything, on that scale before. Like, the missions were funny and interesting, like, it had RPG mechanics, like, you could improve yourself by doing things like running and going to the gym or whatever. You could like get clothes. It was like life simulator, but with shooting and stuff. There was like gang territory control stuff in it, which really appealed to the strategy nerd in me. I've never, I can't ever remember being so, just taken by a game as a kid, just like having all my attention and focus for such a long period of time. San Andreas.
Resident Evil 4. I played that game so many times. I learned all its secrets. I pretty much know it inside and out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it was. It's just gameplay was so satisfying and good that I just kept playing it and learned every secret, like where all the hidden items were, how to unlock everything. I did everything.
Did you try and speedrun it multiple times like you did with 7?
I always took my time with 4.
Yeah.
4 was... It's just such a good game.
You don't want to rush it there. I think for me, Age of Conan, the beta or like the demo or whatever, the free trial.
That was the MMO, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was obsessed with it in the sense that I'd like be like grouchy like at school or whatever. Like I wanted to go. And play.
Yeah. I was exactly that with San Andreas.
And then the game that was recently done that to me is Divinity Original Sin. It got to the point where I'd played it for so long. I had like a week off work and I would smash the fuck out of the game, like playing it like 10 hours a day. And I'd have dreams, and there's like a bar, the UI bar at the bottom of it. It's got all your spells, and I'd have a dream about real life, but I'd have that bar underneath, like it was like in my dream. It was burned into my brain. That's the last game I was properly obsessed with, and obviously it shows a lot because I talk about it.
Well, it's a great game. It's a very good game.
And the second one. I am genuinely contemplating taking like days off work for it, even though my job is games. But because your
job isn't playing games, it's talking
exactly.
About them, so.
And that's going to be the next one. So yeah, I really am underplaying how excited I am for that game because I loved the first one so much. That's the last time I remember being obsessed with the game.
Yeah, cool, good question, Dom. And finally, Blake Tyler says, question for the next podcast: what death of a character in a game hit you guys the hardest, and what do you guys feel about permadeath in games? I feel State of Decay did it perfectly. There's kind of two questions there, I suppose. We've already kind of answered the death of a character, most emotional moment in the game, that kind of thing. It's like, Joel's kid in The Last of Us and all that.
That's probably the standout for me.
Is it? Yeah, you guys reckon?
When Sarah dies at the beginning of The Last of Us, that's just like, it's such a brutal moment. Like, I'm not even a dad or anything, but that hit me hard.
It's the voice acting.
It is. It's the quality of the performances.
The worst death in a game for me happened in Mass Effect 2. The first time I went through the suicide mission, and I lost. I lost one of the characters, and I was like, "That was my fault. They're dead because of me."
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It was like I made the wrong decision, and that character who I'd like grown to like, I'd gained their trust. I'd really enjoyed playing through 25 hours of a sci-fi RPG with them, were dead, and it was my fault. That was one. I can't remember who it was. It was the green guy. I can't remember. He's like an assassin.
I know what you mean.
It's like TH in there somewhere. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, him. Can't remember what his name is.
I can remember Final Fantasy VII death. I don't want to say. I'm just trying to avoid spoilers, right?
Spoilers for a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, for people that haven't played it, we'd about the death in The Walking Dead season 1. That's a very big stand-up moment for me. But do you know what death? When I think of a video game death that I can remember, it was one of the first times I ever seen it, and I was like, it was like how I felt like watching a death in a film or something like that. I was like, oh, I was quite young, I guess, but Sniper Wolf's death from fucking Metal Gear Solid 1, when Otacon's crying and stuff, and he put the handkerchief on her face. I don't know what it is, but I always remember that, like, because it was like, I hated Sniper Wolf's boss fight. I was like, you little bitch. I died so many times. I was so excited to fucking finally kill her.
Yeah.
I ended up cheesing it with I remember reading in a cheat book, if you can't do it, use Nikita missiles. So I used Nikita missiles, right? Because like I said, I was a little scrub. I was like 8 years old. Killed, and then I was like, it's all sad music, and that's the last thing, if I remember rightly, in disc 1. And then you go down after you kill someone, and it's just
disc 1.
But that really stands out to me.
Remember when that was
the music, the wolves howling, and the handkerchief, and you get the handkerchief.
When did we ever had a game on multiple discs? I mean, now it's just like we'll put fucking half the game on a disc. You download the rest.
The last one I remember on multiple discs was Final Fantasy 13 on Xbox 360.
That
was
on
360. That was on 3 DVDs.
Yeah,
Jake's going to say my last one.
Lost Odyssey.
Yeah.
Lost Odyssey was multiple discs, wasn't it? And that's Mistwalker, who were ex-Squaresoft members. Squaresoft are no stranger to having loads of discs.
It's the creator of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So, and as to permadeath, what do you guys feel about permadeath in games? I don't know. I mean, it serves its purpose based on what the game is, doesn't it? It's completely dependent on the game.
Yeah, I don't care for it personally.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really like it all that much.
Like,
it depends on the game, though, doesn't it? I think if
it works right in some games,
proper like roguelike or whatever.
Yeah, like in Isaac and stuff, it's good.
Yeah,
but for most, I don't care for it most times.
I can't think the last time I had a rogue, permadeath in a game that I played.
Binding of Isaac, I guess.
I don't know, but yeah, it's got its purpose. It completely depends on the game. It'd be totally out of place in most games, but the games that need it is a key part of what the experience is, isn't it? Like learning and doing better.
Yeah, playing as like the ancestors, like in Rogue, when you're playing as like you're the descendant of the character that's just died, like No Man's Sky. When you die in that, you become you have to go pick your stuff up. If that feels like permadeath or not, that's something else. But I don't know. I don't really care either way, really. Like you're saying, it completely depends on. It's like saying where do you stand on camera angles. I guess it just depends entirely on the game.
Yeah, So it's a complicated question, really. But did our best there, Blake. So thank you very much, everyone, for commenting and asking questions. We do enjoy answering them. Do the same again for this week's podcast, and we'll answer them next week for you. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching the podcast all the way through to the end. It feels like it was a pretty long one this time. We had a lot to get through.
Yeah, last week was only an hour or something, so I guess we just made up for it.
Making up for lost ground. Okay. So I've been Mike Williams, been joined by Liam Mckelvey and Jake Kulkowski. See you next time.